Let's get more now on where this could go next. We have reached Vali Nasr. He's a professor of Middle East Studies and International Affairs at Johns Hopkins University. He's also a former senior advisor at the U.S. Department of State. He joins us now from Washington. Thank you for your time on this.
Thank you.
What kind of a message do you believe this targeted attack on Iran's top general sends not only to Iran, but anyone in conflict with the U.S.?
Well, I think to Iran, the message is very clear that the United States is not going beyond economic pressure and is willing to engage Iran in escalatory tit for tat that could end up in war. It's a very bold, audacious message. It provokes the Iranians, I think, to respond in kind. And to the region, I think the message is not one that will bring stability. But it's created a great deal of worry that the region may now become more unstable as Iran and the United States may engage in back and forth confrontation. And in Iraq in particular, also the U.S. actions have created a political crisis because the government is embarrassed by the fact that the U.S. has been acting on its territory, not just assassinating an Iranian general, but actually assassinating Iraqi militia leaders who are part of the Iraqi security establishment. Has turned Iraqi politics upside down at a very critical time.
Some are calling this an act of war. As you know, the word from the Trump administration is that they had intelligence showing that there was an imminent attack and they were preventing the loss of American lives. Do you believe that this was an act of war?
Well, it could be construed as an act of war. Anytime you carry an assassination like this, it is a very significant step that goes beyond the back and forth usually you have between adversaries. It's difficult to believe that this assassination was to avert an attack, largely because General Soleimani was not the hitman. If he had actually planned attacks on U.S. bases, those attacks will now go on if those plans are in place. Elimination of General Soleimani does not end, let's say, an operation that has been planned and is in process. If the U.S. really was going to avert an imminent attack, it would have hit a base or it would have tried to eliminate the group that was likely to carry it out. I think it was a target of opportunity. President Trump wanted to send a big message. They found General Soleimani in their sights. And he decided to take this step without, I think, thinking about what the repercussions might be.
Soleimani, we know, was one of Iran's most powerful men, described as a martyr today, but even in life occasionally described that way. So how big of a blow is his death to that country?
It is more symbolic than practical. I mean, Iran's Revolutionary Guards or Quds Brigade, much like any military operation, military organization, has a chain of command. He's going to be replaced. Had he had died of natural causes, there would have been another commander who would take his place. I think the assassination itself is a major shock to Iran. It's a major step the United States taken that puts Iran in a position of having to answer back if it doesn't want to lose face. And Soleimani, clearly having been in that position for many, many years, had very deep relations within the region, knew many of the leaders, commanders, militiamen, proxies. And so some of that will be lost to Iran. But I think the more important thing is that Soleimani is the one Revolutionary Guard commander whose name was known in the West. So taking him out has sort of a PR ramifications for Iran. If he was an obscure general, nobody would have known, and the Iranians would not have been under as much pressure to respond as they are right now.
What about broader potential implications in the region? We have heard in Iran leaders today declaring severe revenge on the U.S., but we're also hearing Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel saying we're on high alert as well now, although he's also saying he supports the actions directed by President Trump. What do you believe broader implications could be?
Well, the broader implication most obviously is instability. In other words, it's going to affect business, it's going to affect oil prices. Every country is on high alert because they don't know what's going to come next. I mean, just like Iranians were taken aback and were shocked by the assassination, they didn't see it coming. The same could be true for Israel, for America's Arab allies, for U.S. forces in the region. We don't know how Iran is likely to react. What we know is that the U.S.-Iran relationship has now entered a completely new phase. Until now, under President Trump, it was about economic pressure on Iran, breaking Iran's economy until it agrees to come to the table. Now, the two countries have passed that stage to actually potential open direct confrontation. And since this confrontation is not on a battlefield, but it is one side will hit the other one when it doesn't see it coming, and it might take months before Iran responds or weeks before Iran responds, it creates a sense of instability in the region. And it will, and every time an attack comes, it will add to that instability going forward. So it's not good for the Middle East that the United States and Iran are in the current situation.
We greatly appreciate your insights on this today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Vali Nasr is a former senior advisor at the U.S. Department of State, joining us from Washington.